on. You guys got a minute real quick?
What?
I have 2 circles here. I'm trying to see if people could tell the difference. One of us is bigger than the other one.
Sure.
All right, cool. So which one's the bigger one, red or blue? I'm trying to see if people could tell the difference.
Wait, hold on. What's the question again?
So one of these circles is bigger than the other one?
Circle.
Yeah, the circle, the red one and the blue one. So which one's the bigger circle?
No, they're the same.
You think they're the same?
Yeah, they're the same.
Really? Yeah? All right, you guys got it. You guys didn't fall for it. So it was a trick question, so you guys actually use common sense. You guys just don't believe what people tell you, right? I have one more.
Sure.
Is it okay? So it actually has to do with water, with the physics of water. So we understand water takes the shape of the container, right? And how will you describe the surface of the water once it's fills the container? How do you describe the surface?
The surface?
Of the water.
It's flat.
Right? Exactly. Could we say it's level, horizontal?
Level, yeah.
Horizontal, right? It doesn't matter how we tilt the container, the water always equalizes, right?
Sure.
So this next question is very easy. It's not a trick question, but you guys are using common sense, so you guys will get it. So since we understand the physics of water and what water level means, which one of these two is correct? A or B? It's not a trick question, but I mean, A or B? Which one's correct? Elementary physics. It's A, right? That's the obvious answer, right? Could we say that somebody that believes the answer is B, could we say that they're not using common sense? If they think this is level?
It depends on their perspective.
But in reality, in construction, when we want to make sure something's perfectly straight, we use
level.
Exactly, in level we use water, right?
Yeah.
That's why there's water in a leveling tool, right?
Sure.
So we can confidently say that this is not correct, right? This is correct, right? Now, will it surprise you guys to know, because the reason I do this is because of this, that even though we know the answer is A, because that's the physics of water, physics doesn't change. That's the laws of physics. The majority of people, including you guys, and I did too, believe it's B. You guys want to know why?
Oh.
I think why do you think you believe the answer is B, and even though we know it's A?
Because I didn't see the details about this one.
Yeah. So there's a drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, right here. There's no drop. It's perfectly level to the structure, right? So this is the obvious answer, right?
Yes.
So why do you think the majority of people, maybe including you guys, believe it's this one though, even though we know it's the other one? Why do you think? You guys want to know?
Maybe because the water is flowing, whatever.
No. Once water is contained, like in a lake, right?
Lake, okay.
Yeah, like in a lake.
Okay.
So you guys, the answer is: do you guys believe the Earth is a ball?
Sphere.
A sphere, yeah, the Earth. Right?
Maybe.
That's what they teach us in school, right? So I used to believe that too. So I came across this information 6 years ago, and I just started coming out here talking to the public like 2 months ago. So they tell us that the Earth has a certain circumference, right? Because NASA claims to go to the moon, right, into space, and they claim to orbit the Earth, right? So they need to know the radius of orbit. So they technically need to know the size of the Earth if they're going around it. So the size of the Earth, they tell us, is 3959 miles in radius. So it's 24,901 miles in circumference. So it has to curve at 8 inches per mile squared. So by the 3rd mile, there should be a 6-foot drop. So if we were to build a perfectly level structure over a lake, that body of water should deviate from the structure by 6 feet at 3 miles. So if we start at 5 feet, the gap should increase by 6 feet, and it should be 11 feet if the Earth is a ball, right? Because they claim that gravity is bending the oceans, right? But I don't know if you guys knew, gravity is just a theory. They didn't measure a force pulling things down. What they measure was the effect of things dropping. 9.8 meters per second. You guys know Neil deGrasse Tyson?
No.
Oh, you never heard of Neil deGrasse Tyson?
No.
He's a famous astrophysicist. Okay, he admits that gravity is just a theory, basically. You can look him up, but
what's his name again?
Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil. Neil. N-E-I-L. Neil deGrasse.
DeGrasse? Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, you'll just put Neil deGrasse, he'll come up. He's like the most famous astrophysicist. But even he admits that gravity is just a theory.
What is gravity?
You have no idea. Okay, next question.
Wow.
No, here's the difference. We can describe gravity. We can say what it does to other things. We can measure it, predict with it. But when you start asking, like, what it is, I don't know.
Now, if I was to ask you guys, what's the number one proof that convinces you that the Earth is a ball? It's okay to be honest, because nobody really has a real answer, to be honest. What's the number one proof that convinces you that the Earth is a ball? That proves to you, that convinces you without a shadow of a doubt that it's a ball.
It's a ball?
That the Earth is a ball.
Because it's introduced in school like a globe.
Right, so it's just because we were told that, right? Yeah. So I'm glad you're being honest, because majority of people will bring up photographs or gravity, but I already explained gravity, right? It's just a theory to make us believe in the ball of theory. But photographs of Earth, I don't know if you guys knew, but there's no real photographs of Earth. So the highest human beings have ever gone in the sky is 20 miles. And I could show you some photographs of that.
What's this for?
So I'm actually doing this to spread awareness about this. I don't know if you knew, NASA gets over 60 million a day to present us with cartoons. You know what I'm saying? Because the Earth is not a ball. I don't know if you knew, but outer space is just a concept. Have you guys heard about that? Or outer space being a concept? That means it's an idea. It means somebody's imagination. Nobody's really going up to the stars and measuring, going around the stars and actually measuring that. Nobody's doing that. Like I said, the highest we've ever gone as human beings is literally 20 miles. So these are amateur photographs. So helium balloons, giant helium balloons. Hey, how's it going?
Good.
So giant.
Wait, excuse me. So we're touring around because I'm going home today.
Okay. So you guys want to take some information home? I'm sorry for keep you guys.
No.
Here, I have some flyers. Maybe you want to look into this later, you know?
Sure, no.
Yeah. Sorry about that, you know. I know a lot of people are here just passing, you know. Here you go. Oh, that's my card. Like I said, I do street interviews. And like I said, you could check some out, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. Do you want to take one? You want to take, does he speak English? You speak English?
Yeah.
English, you want to take one of these? Yeah. Check this out, man. It'll change your life, trust me. Hey, how's it going? You got a minute? Sure. So I'm asking people to see if they know what this is. You know what this is? A leveler?
It's a level.
Yeah, what do we use these for?
Find level.
Right? What would be your definition of level?
Level. I mean,
Like horizontal? Could we say horizontal surface, right?
This one's level, and this one's plumb.
Plumb, exactly. 90 degrees, right?
And then this one will tell you 45. So
Exactly, in between, right? So would you agree that once we fill up a pool with water, the surface of the water is level?
Yeah.
Right? So I'm asking people a very easy question, elementary level. Since we understand the physics of water and what level means, which one of these two is correct, A or B? Very easy. A, right? That's the obvious answer. Could we say that someone that believes the answer is B, could we say that maybe they're not using common sense, right? If they think this means level?
Not necessarily, because they could have a visual.
Let's say this was like a giant pool underneath this level structure.
Right, but they could be misrepresenting the level of the water and stuff visually.
Visually, but what if we went and measure it though?
Yeah.
Which one of these two is correct?
Yes.
If we were to measure, right? A, right?
Yeah.
Now, what if I was to tell you that over 95% of the population, even including you, because I did too, believe the answer is B, even though we know it's A, and that's the reason why I do this. You want to know why? You want to know why? So, do you believe the Earth is a ball?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in order for Earth to be a ball, NASA claims to go to the moon and outer space, right? So they need to know the radius of orbit because they're supposedly orbiting the Earth. So they tell us that the radius of the Earth is 3959, which gives us a circumference of 24,901 miles, which means it's supposed to be curving 8 inches per mile squared. So by the first mile, this should be an 8-inch drop. Second mile, 32-inch drop. By the third mile, this should be a 6-foot drop from the level. So if we were to build a perfectly level structure over a body of water like a lake that's over 2 miles across, if we start at 5 feet, the gap from that level structure in the water, that water should be bending by 6 feet, more than double by 3 miles. But in reality, we understand the physics of water doesn't do that. The surface of water always collapses and always forms a horizontal plane. I don't know if you heard of the term sea level, right? That's why they measure height and depth to make sure that they're on the same level, right? So if I was to ask you, what's the number one proof that convinces you that Earth is a globe? I know this is like the biggest. Have you heard about this before I ask you that? You never heard of people questioning that they don't believe in the globe?
Yeah,
no. So just real quick, if I was to ask you though, the number one proof that convinces you that the Earth is a globe, what would it be? Something you could point me to.
Well, pictures of the Earth.
Pictures of the Earth. So I don't know if you knew though, but these photographs from outer space, they're actually not photographs, and NASA admits it. They actually call them images because for court purposes, obviously, so that they don't get sued and everything, because they actually admit that they're Photoshopped. So what they say they do is take strips of photographs of the Earth, and then they stitch them together into a ball. They have an artist do it. So they admit that they're Photoshopped. So no photographs of the Earth as a ball exist, in other words. So all the other space agencies as well, they admit that they're CGI, including NASA. I mean, NASA is the main space agency, the United States. RASA will be probably the second one. Then you have, the European space agencies, right? But so I recently started coming out and talking to the public about this because obviously this is a pretty big topic that's going on the internet right now. I'm pretty surprised that you haven't heard about it. But I don't know if you're familiar with action cameras. GoPros, right?
Yes.
GoPros, right? So let me just show you this real quick. High altitude photographs, 20 miles in the sky without a fisheye lens, show a perfectly level horizon. That's 4 times higher than airplanes fly. And when you use GoPro cameras, fisheye lens, it curves horizons like this. Right. So, but when you put it standard lens, it's perfectly level. So these photographs were taken with basically amateur balloons, civilians. Right. They filled up giant helium balloons and send them up in the air, see how high they can go, and they all reach 20 miles. Nothing goes higher than 20 miles. So, I found out about this 6 years ago, and I'm out here, just talking to people, see what's the one thing that convinces them, you know, that Earth is a globe? So photographs don't exist from space. So if I was to ask you, like, maybe one more thing that convinces you other than photographs?
Take a plane and you can go completely around the world
And
come back to where you
an
started.
airplane. So circumnavigation.
It's not a globe, then you couldn't do
Okay, so let me just show you this real quick before I go. Just explain circumnavigation real quick. So you're talking about when you go east and west, right? You come back to the same spot?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Okay, so let me just show you this. Now, this is not what the Earth looks like. This is not what the Earth looks like, but it's what it would look like if it was a leveled Earth. If we just made the globe level, this is what it would look like. So Antarctica, instead of being on the bottom, it'll be an ice wall, basically holding the water in like a bowl, right? So if the north basically will be in the center, so if we circumnavigate, if we go east, compass is always point north, right? So if we go west this way, right? The compass, if we go this way, the compass is always going to point north, so it's always going to be correcting itself. I don't know if you knew that. Airplanes actually do correct after after an hour of flight. They have to correct because then they're going to be going off tangent. Same thing when we go east. Same thing. When we go east, we're just going 45 degrees or 90 degrees from north. That's what east will be. But if on a map like this, that would just be circles. Right. East and west will be circles. You know what has never been done? Circumnavigation from north to south. That would prove the Earth is a globe. If you go south and then come back up the other side, that would prove the Earth is a globe. But that's never been done. You want to know why? Because if you go south, guess what happens? Nobody actually knows what happens. That's the mystery. We don't know how far the Earth extends. So they're keeping us in a pocket. That's the point. So, you know, it's a pretty big topic, you know. Do you want to take some information home? I actually pass out some flyers if you want.
I'll look on the internet.
Because it is being censored. If you look up Ball Earth Lie or anything that has to do with it, you're only going to get propaganda and ridicule videos. You're not going to get any real information, which is literally the reason why I'm out here. Because if it wasn't being censored, trust me, I'll let people, you know, come across this like the way I did, and they'll understand it because it's very easy to understand. You know, physics is all around us. So the reason why I pass out information is because you're not going to find this information, you know. So I don't know if maybe you want to take it and then see if you could come across the same information, and you'll be surprised that you're not going to come across this information if you just like try to research on your own.
Right.
You know, you probably won't come across it, you know. Actually, my card's in there as well, you know. I do YouTube videos as well if you want to check them out, you know, in your free time, you know. Yeah, appreciate you for talking to me, man. All right, thank you. Hey, you have a good one. Hey, how's it going? You guys got a quick minute? I'm asking people if they know what this is. A leveling tool?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do we use these for? For measuring, right?
Yeah.
What will be your definition of level? In simple words. So like horizontal, could we say even surface, horizontal? Right? So if I was to ask you guys, very easy question, elementary level, which one of these two is correct since we understand level and, you know, the physics of water, right? Which one of these two is correct, A or B? When we're talking about level. Right.
Say B.
Do you think level means curved? Do you think level means curved, or do you think level means...
Oh, no, level, yeah.
Yeah, it's A, right? It's the obvious answer, right? So the reason I do this is because would you surprise you guys to know that over 95% of the population believe the answer is B, even though it's obviously A, right? Yeah. You guys want to know why? Do you guys believe the Earth is a ball?
I think it's round. I believe it's round.
Right, you believe it's round, right? I used to believe it was round too, like a sphere. A sphere, that would be a term. You believe it's a sphere too? Or are you in the middle?
I'm in the middle right
You're in the middle, right? So I came across this information 6 years ago. So basically, they tell us that the Earth has a circumference of 24,901 miles, which means it has a radius of 3,959. So this is the exact curvature rate. So there has to be curvature at every mile. There has to be dropping. So by the third mile, there should be a 6-foot drop. So if we were to build a perfectly level structure over a giant lake, that lake should be bending. The surface of that lake should be bending by 6 feet in 3 miles. But we understand the physics of water. When a lake is filled, that surface of that lake is level, right? Because when it freezes, people can literally ice skate on lakes, right? When they freeze up, right? Because they're perfectly level. So if I was to ask you guys, what's the number one proof that convinces you that that the Earth is a ball? And you know, it's okay to be honest if you just believe it because the rest believe it, or
I just say nobody has no definitive proof.
right, exactly. So this is why I'm out here, because this will be the number one proof to debunk the globe. If we were to build a perfectly level structure over a body of water, the body of water anywhere on Earth, doesn't matter the lake on, it could be a lake in Europe, it could be a lake. The Earth has supposedly curvature, right? That's what you need to make a ball. So this will be the number one experiment to debunk the globe. So you'll never see this experiment on the news, on the mainstream. You know what experiment you'll hear about? Laser experiments. Have you guys heard of laser experiments? Yeah. Right. You want to know why those are faulty? What happens when you point a laser in water? Does the laser go straight or no?
It stops it.
It stops or it bends it.
Or it bends it
exactly.
into water.
So did you know that air is literally like moisture? It's literally like water, the air that we're breathing. So when you shine a laser to measure for curvature, guess what's gonna happen? Refraction. The laser's gonna be bending up and down. You know, it's not gonna be a definitive test. So I don't know if you guys heard of the Netflix documentary that's out there about this. It's called Behind the Curve. But I call it a mockumentary because that's what they do. Is to confuse people, is to keep people like just in the middle, basically, so you don't actually commit to your senses. Because what they're trying to do is make us warp our common sense so that they can control us. And how do they do it? By making us believe that something so simple and easy to understand, like water, everybody uses water, you know, is actually doing something else. But our senses can't see it. We just have to believe it, right?
I like how you did that too.
No, yeah.
One straight, the
exactly.
level, but then this one is curved.
It's supposed to be a 6 foot drop in 3 miles. If we start at 5 feet,
Start at 5.
it's supposed to be 11 feet. What's 5 plus 6? 11. You don't gotta be a genius. This
Same
curvature
rocket science.
should be there, and it's not.
It is not.
This information is actually being censored from the internet. I don't know if you knew that. I came across this 6 years ago, and about 3 years ago, like 2018, 2019, they started demoting it on the internet. So what happens if you search flat Earth? That was a term that they used to mock it, you know, because flat, you could say a ball is flat. You could say this paper's flat, but if you have it slanted, it's not level. So the proper term is the Earth is level. It's not flat. It's level. Yeah. So that's how we measure height and depth. And then I don't know if you knew, but submarines, when they shoot 150 miles, like laser target, they're only like no more than like 10 feet above the water when they're looking at these objects 150 miles away. Guess how much curvature there should be at 150 miles? Let me see. 100 miles, they should be over a mile and drop. Imagine a mile vertically. The Earth doesn't curve. The Earth doesn't curve. The Earth is a level plane. So here's another thing. The stars, you know outer space, right? Yeah. Did you know that's like just a concept? Outer space? So a concept means it's just someone's idea. In other words, someone's imagination. So if I just tell you, oh, the stars in the sky are unicorn farts, you know what I'm saying? Obviously that sounds ridiculous, but any story about the sky is gonna be ridiculous because nobody knows what the sky is. Exactly. You wanna know how high human beings have ever gone? 20 miles is the highest human beings have ever gone. Let me show you.
What about like the spacecrafts going way out there?
It's just the magic show. NASA? Just the magic. So this is what the stars actually look like. Look at that. There's a 83 times zoom camera on the market. It's called the Nikon P900. I actually have it. And when you have a clear night sky, you could zoom into the stars, and this is literally what they look like. It looks like they're lights in water, and they're twinkling, and they change every color of the rainbow. You know, so they're literally in our visible space. I think there's a ceiling above us within 1,000 miles. You know, so, and then let me just show you the planets. These are the planets, and the only reason why they're called planets because the word planet means wandering. So unlike all the other stars that are fixed in the sky like a map, these the wandering stars, the planets, they have their unique paths. They're actually independent in the sky. They move in their own unique path, and that's why they used to call planets, because that means wander. But what did they twist it now? Now a planet is a ball in the middle of vacuum, but the vacuum of space is made up. It doesn't exist. Because you want to know why? What happens when you have a cylinder and you fill it up with air, a bunch of air, a cylinder, right? You create a higher pressure in there, right? What happens when you open that cylinder or you punch a hole? The air equalizes, right? That's the physics of air. Air always equalizes. So they're telling us that outer space is a vacuum next to Earth's pressure without equalizing. You need a container, first of all, to maintain pressure. So the fact that we have pressure here on Earth tells us that we have some kind of container. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing. Nobody knows the dimensions of the Earth. So nobody knows how far it extends. So people ask, well, what happens if you just go in one direction? Wouldn't you fall off the edge? Well, if outer space existed, I guess that would be like a thing, right? But outer space doesn't exist. So what happens when we go towards the end of the Earth? That's a mystery. I think some people think that it could go on infinitely. Some people think that there's like the ceiling comes down like a dome and you could knock on it. You know, we don't know what's. Yeah, so that's why I'm out here, you know, spreading this information because it is being censored. You want to take some information home? Yeah, right, man. I'm telling you, this completely changed my life 6 years ago, and I only started doing this 2 months ago, coming out talking to people because it is the number one ridiculed and censored subject right now on the internet. And then I had to make these myself because you're not gonna find this information if you go on Google. So I had to put in those links. Those are my favorite channels that I follow, and then those are that's my channel on the top. Here, if you want to check some information when you get home, because it is being censored, this information. So if you just go on Google or YouTube and type in Ball Earth Lie or Flat Earth, you're gonna get just ridiculing. People just mocking it and ridiculing. Why? Because it's this simple to understand. They're gonna avoid the curvature. You know what they're gonna, I'm gonna give you guys like a little tip. they're gonna avoid measuring for curvature physically, like with a ruler, and they're all just gonna talk about looking at the curvature. So, I could see the curvature, but we have a limit of perspective. We can't see forever. We only have like 6 miles of vision in front of us if you're at an ocean, and that's the limit of our eyesight. It's not because of the curvature of the Earth. It's just the limit of eyesight. So they take that and then they try to prove that that's the curvature. Well, because we can't see forever, that means that the Earth is curving downwards. But that's bullshit. But that's the number one thing you're gonna hear about when you start looking into this. But I'm telling you, anybody that's avoiding a physical measurement, like literally, I would stay away from. You know, they're probably gonna spread misinformation. There's a lot of controlled opposition. I don't know if you know, ever heard of that term? Yeah, so it's a quote that says, the best way to control the opposition is to lead it ourselves. So that's what controlled opposition is. It's like fake opposition, but it's literally the same people that are telling the lie, having agents pretending to be against them, but they're, you know, to control the conversation. That's how and that's all you're gonna see on
like somebody that worked for a company putting fake reviews for their own
There
company.
you go, there you go.
Shit.
That's exactly what's going on. So, you know, that's why I'm out here, man. I wouldn't be out here if it wasn't being
man,
censored.
Hey, whatever you believe in, man. I like what you
No, man.
It's educational.
No, yeah.
I don't know bullshit.
This is real physics, man. Real physics.
There's other shit that's out
Yeah.
there.
Man,
You're telling us
appreciate.
something that can educate us.
Yeah, appreciate me
Thank
talking
you,
to me, man.
You're a smart guy.
Yeah, I
There's
appreciate
one
it.
guy, I bet you couldn't pick his brain on 5th and Broadway, Mr. Jones. You know
Mr.
Mr.
Jones? I haven't seen
Hey,
him.
that motherfucker, I get to do a math problem. You show him that shit, he'll figure out the shit for you.
Fifth and Broadway, I'm gonna walk that way and I'll come back.
Big old afro.
Big ol' afro?
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
Let me know.
All right, man. We'll do, man. Take it.